Welcome back to part 2 of the camper rocker slider building series. Pretty much the original plan with this was to run a complete perimeter, outside perimeter of this thing and tie it all together. It all worked out really well, and I wanted to put something a little bit, something thicker, or not even thicker, I'm sorry, stick out farther right here on the camper. We wanted to do that just in case we backed into something, but after a lot of thought and for simplicity's sake as well, I really think it'll look best to match the sliders that I've already built, use the same 1.5 by 3 and literally run it down here just like those were, tie it in here, and then it just so happens to literally stick out 2 inches outside, which will be a good little bumper, and then bam, we have everything we need. So I'm going to build this rear piece and I'm going to put it up there, see what we think of it, let Dwayne know, give him a little visual of it, and if you don't like it, we can change it, but I think it will be perfect for this thing. It'll give it a great look, still up high, and give us protection for if we're coming off of banks or run into rock, you know, coming off of a tire, or off the tire here, you know, it'll catch it all perfectly. Nothing will get wedged in here the way I'm going to build it. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. I'm going to get to work on it. This has taken a lot longer than I anticipated. I'm being very particular with this because I want it to look good. Long story short, it's going to look great when we're done, and that's that. So let's get to work, and I will show you what I have thought up in my head. Right now I am cutting the 2 side pieces for the rear section. I've already made one side, give you kind of an idea. Just did a 90 here. I'm going to shave off the corner, put a little bevel on it, a little 45 just to match everything. You'll see when I get done with that. Anyways, welding it up, and then this is kind of what I'm making over there. As you guys know, I'm not the greatest at being able to keep the camera in my hand as I do this stuff, but I am trying to work fast tonight, trying to get some stuff done. This is the rear section. I am going to French in a receiver right there, and then I'm going to get both of these stringers on, put it up there, and I'm going to fasten it in the middle with a through bolt and then 2 stilts on the side. I think it'll be plenty stout and be a nice way to take it on and off if we want to revamp it later. But that's what I'm doing right now. I've already cut my reliefs. This kind of goes around the mud flaps there, and then I'm going to cut a 45 here so I can weld it to that other piece. So that is the end of my Monday night. I got 3-4 hours in this now, and it's 11:30. So I've got to get home, get to bed, got work tomorrow. But cool thing is the whole structure is made. I know that looks super simple, looks like a headache rack for a Baja buggy, but it all fits in here good. I just have to make, this is where I'm gonna do these just like I did the supports, just like these. I'm gonna make them just the same, and it's gonna actually swoop under here and go below the jack and everything and be able to come right up here and then bolt in there. So that way you'll have good lateral support. If you need to pull on it, it'll pull both ways and encapsulate the frame. I think it'll be the best way to do it and still be removable. And that was kind of my big thing I want to do with this for Dwayne the whole time. So I think it'll work out great. It's going to look great. I need to finish weld it and then grind it all down and get those plates made, and then I'll get it put up there and I'll show you guys that. Hopefully get to that tomorrow. So hope you guys are enjoying this, and yeah, end of the first night of the second part of this. This is the look that we have for the rear bumper. Sticking out about almost 2 inches in the back. It doesn't look like it, but it sticks out quite a ways. I think it'll look perfect with the hitch on there, which I'm going to put in the middle here in a little bit. I have this all sitting flush to the body this way. There's actually, the way they made this, there's actually a small gap when it's all level on the back side, which is not the end of the world. It just doesn't match the rest of the way, which I wish it did. But anyways, that's what I got thought up for the mount. So what you're going to do to take this thing off is this will all just drop down and back when you need to take it off, if you need to take it off for that matter. It'll be a little bit tight, it'll be a two-man thing, but it'll be like a ranch hand bumper, for instance, where it kind of sandwiches between the frame, and then it can only be pulled off if you rip these off. So I think overall, don't mind me laying down on the job, I think overall it's going to work out pretty good. It was a lot more simple than cutting around all this stuff and making a big ordeal out of it. I'm pretty happy. So I'm going to get this all welded on and get this other mount on the other side, and then I'll show you a finished product after I'm done. I'm to the point now where I'm making the end caps for this rear section, the rear bumper I guess you could call it. I just cut some strap out and bam, it's almost like it's already welded. Just gonna weld around here, fill in this gap, grind it all smooth, and then she's gonna get put on there one last time, make sure all of my bolt holes line up and make sure everything's happy, and then I'm gonna start painting everything. The last thing we'll have to do is make those inner fender well supports. Hopefully that goes well. I'm trying to think of a fancy way to attach them to this, and I was thinking about drill and tapping the end cap and just literally bolting them to it, but I haven't made up my mind. We'll see as time progresses, but that's where we're at. That's what the piece is looking like. I'm gonna get it all welded up and get it on there. Got everything all prepped up, welded, cleaned. Now I am putting the receiver in the bottom of my tube. I have it marked out, centered. I'm gonna cut these down with the bandsaw, get them close to the other side where there's still a rounded edge so it doesn't bend. And then I'm gonna cut it with a grinder on the top and then lay that in there and weld it. So that's the plan. Get it done. One thing I did not take into account is how this is all gonna weld. Whenever I weld this, it's gonna try to suck it up or down. So I'm gonna try to tack a corner, tack a corner, tack a corner, tack a corner, and hope that that strategy works so that this doesn't twist, because my bolt holes and everything are already drilled and they are very precise. Very precise. So alrighty guys, the time has come to do some paint. This is my least favorite thing to do because I'm not a painter. Quite honestly, kind of sucks. Not my favorite. But we got some paint and primer, some good old Rust-Oleum. I decided to do that so that way we can touch it up along the way if it gets scratched up, dinged up, rather than having it professionally painted or powder coated. So I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to do the front two pieces, and then I need to refit the rear bumper. I got it all finished up last night as you guys saw, but I do need to mount it back up there, make sure it didn't warp or tweak or anything when I put that hitch in. Take a look at this. This is the finished product. I kind of skipped the putting them on part because it's kind of self-explanatory. I set them up there, got all my bolts put in. Obviously, just spray painted them. They turned out pretty good. My semi-gloss come out pretty glossy. I'm a little upset with that. Rust-Oleum, you know, they're doing their own thing apparently at the factory, but this is what it all ended up like, guys. The rear bumper here, simple. I kept the corners on here because I figured, you know, the more sticking out, the better in case something happens. It's all pretty well flush down the way. Got a receiver in there. Here's the other side. Everything all bolted on. Sorry the lighting is horrible, but you guys get the idea of it. There's that from the bottom. Here's what I did in the back. Yeah, overall, I am pretty happy with it. I have a lot of time in this, believe it or not, more than I want to admit, but truly getting everything square to this body and cutting everything to fit was a bigger ordeal than like the average rock slider on a truck, because this thing is like a perfect box and you don't realize how much work it takes to, like I said, get it all square. So that's different for me on doing something like this. Normally you're just following like a rounded body line or whatever, and it doesn't matter if it's off a little bit. We all strive to be perfect when you're fabricating stuff, but sometimes it's impossible. Also, I said I wasn't going to touch on this, but I also took the old mounts. This used to be the box that was sitting here from the factory. We put a Craftsman box in here. I've got 2 fuel jugs that I'm going to be mounting right here. I decided to buy some mounts for them because they're honestly like, I don't know, Amazon sells them and they're really nice and lockable so no one can take your stuff. Fuel's kind of expensive these days, right? So I'm going to do that. It's more cost effective. I couldn't build one of those in an hour compared to what they cost. Plus, like I said, they're ready to go. Have them in a day or two. Sometimes it's more convenient to order stuff. But I did repurpose the mounts, tighten them up for Dwayne so that way everything's sturdy and will not come out. But overall, I am super happy. I hope he's happy with it. And this is going to wrap up the second part of this. He is going to come back to me, I believe, later. We're going to do the inner fender. I didn't get to those also. Sorry. We ended up not doing the inner fender stuff right now. I just didn't have time. And I want to get this back to him and see how he likes it. And if it's going to work for him, if we need to change anything. And then we might eventually someday move on to the exo cage and tie all that together. But anyways, like I said, part 2 is finished. Appreciate you guys following along. Appreciate the subscribers. I'm well past 700 now. It seems like the subscribers keep coming in, and that means the world to me. As always, guys, I appreciate you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.